Hey there guys, I'm SonicGhost, and today we are here to take a look at the brand new model of the Nintendo Switch, the Nintendo Switch OLED. So this version of the console is not just a refresh of the Nintendo Switch hardware. This time around we have some notable changes to the console, as we have an OLED display, and it's a bigger display this time around, filling up the whole body of the system, being a full 7 inches, along with some other hardware improvements to the actual system itself. But before we get into this model, there's a little bit of brief history here to talk about with the Nintendo Switch. The original model Nintendo Switch released on March 3rd of 2017, and from there we got a new version of the system called the Nintendo Switch Lite in September of 2019. This system was supposed to be a portable focused version of the Switch, as it did not include the docking capabilities, but it did ship with a better battery. Because of this, the original Switch hardware did get a hardware revision that really only changed the battery. That way, the standard model Switches would have a better battery life compared to launch models. This time around, the OLED here is changing more than just the battery, so we're going to be taking a look at all the differences between the original model and the OLED version of the Nintendo Switch today. So, jumping into things here, we can see on the box, I did opt to get the neon version of the Switch, as it comes with a black dock, and you get the neon blue and neon red Joy-Cons. There is another version of the OLED model released with a white dock and white Joy-Cons, so if that is the style you prefer, there is another model out there for you. For me, I prefer the look of the black dock, as it goes better with a lot of my other stuff in my console setup, so I prefer the look of this version of the OLED model. But besides that, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other things on the box. We can see a general list of information of things that come with the system here, along with some of the accessories and such that you can use with the console. We can see on the back, here are all the differences with this version. So they're advertising here in tabletop mode. We can see the brand new kickstand in action, as the kickstand on this model was heavily revamped compared to the original model Switch. We can see in TV mode, the dock definitely looks a lot bigger in comparison, but we'll take a look more into the dock itself when we take the system out of the box. And in handheld mode, as we can see, that is a full screen on the system. It definitely looks bigger compared to the original model. Turning around the side here, once again, we got a little bit of a description of the system. So 7-inch OLED screen with 64 gigs of system memory, double of what the original model Switch had, which was 32 gigs of system memory in total. The dock now has a LAN port, so no need to worry about buying a third-party or first-party LAN adapter just to use a wire connection with your system. Now it's built into the dock. And as we can see, the adjustable stand here goes in multiple angles, and we'll take a look at that here once we open up the system. So, down below, we got a little flap here. We just want to go ahead, move that out, and now the box just opens straight up, and now we have the goodies inside. We got our new Joy-Cons and a new system. Let's take a look at the system first, as the Joy-Cons are just exactly the same as every other Joy-Con pair in the market for now. So, taking the system out of the bag, we will see the system in all of its glory. It looks very nice just on first glance here, and we can definitely see that is a big screen. We'll get a better look once we turn the system on. Flipping around to the back, we can see that new kickstand here. We just pop this up. It definitely does not come apart as easily as the old model, which is a good thing, because the old model Switch's kickstand honestly wasn't the best. Let us not kid ourselves here, but this one, as we can see, goes in multiple angles, so now I can just have the system sitting straight up, or I can take it and move the back plate a little bit more. So now, putting down the system instead, it could be a more upwards angle. So this is honestly a much better kickstand, and moving it, we can also see on the back, they moved the SD card slot. So now it's more of a protruding SD card on the side compared to it just being a straight upwards port compared to the original model. So this definitely feels a lot better and more sturdy in my opinion, and it just feels like a hefty system in general. We look on the top, we got our grill here for our fan, we have a headphone jack, we have the game cart slot here. That's where we put our physical copies of games. We can see, a little hard to show up on camera, we got a power button here and the volume rocker, so everything checks out. Got our rails here to attach Joy-Cons. So what do you say we actually take those Joy-Cons that came with our system and connect them to our Switch? So here is the neon blue. I do like the shade of blue with this Joy-Con. It does look very vivid. And this is honestly a Joy-Con I've been wanting to get for a few years. I would like to also get the other one on the right side to match with my system. Maybe one day that'll be a pickup I will have, but for now, we have the neon red Joy-Con to go with our neon blue. And once again, it's a nice shade of red. On the camera though, it shows up more as like a salmonish kind of pink, but it is about the same red as the Switch box. It's just slightly brighter. So, taking our Joy-Cons, we can go ahead, attach them to our system, just like so. And this works the same way as the original model Switch. So this is how the system looks when you have Joy-Cons attached. And for comparison's sake, I do actually have my original model Switch. This is my launch unit Switch that I bought back in 2017. If you actually want to watch my coverage on this system where I unbox it for the first time and also give my first impressions on the system and a full-on hardware review, go check out that video. There will be a link down in the description below where you can watch my original unboxing and review of the Nintendo Switch. So we can see here just from this system, we can see the size of this screen. It is definitely smaller compared to our new Switch model here. But the biggest difference is going to be that screen type. So I do want to take this system and power it on for the first time. So turning it on, we can see the Nintendo logo, and just looking in person, I can see the difference in this style of screen compared to the original model, as this is an OLED display compared to the original model being an LCD. Get a nice little chime when you first turn the system on. So here's how this looks in comparison to my original model here, which if I turn this one on, you will see the big difference between the screen sizes. It is definitely a night and day difference. In fact, I'm going to go into my original model and actually change to a different theme. So let's go ahead and do just that. For now, take that kickstand and we can actually show the difference between these kickstands on the system. So taking a look at the two systems side by side, we can definitely see a big size increase between the OLED model and the original model here of the Nintendo Switch. It's only about an inch difference between the screen sizes, but once you actually get this system in your hands and see an old model Switch as well side by side like this, you can see that extra inch on the OLED makes a huge difference. As for someone like myself who doesn't have the best vision to begin with, this is going to make a lot of portable gaming a lot easier now to read text, as that extra inch in the screen size is going to make text look a lot clearer in comparison. Now we can also see here, as I have both the systems up on the kickstand, here's the kickstand that comes with the original model Switch. And it isn't the best kickstand as it only goes in one direction. It only goes from fully in to slightly out. And if you're not careful, you can take the whole thing off your system, which when I first used this system, I thought I broke my Switch because of how easy it is to take the kickstand off. But it just goes right back in place, and all you gotta do is just push it back down, and then it goes back into the system. And this is where it's covering up the actual SD card slot for this system. So if this kickstand gets lost, then you have an exposed SD card slot, which in comparison to the OLED model, that does not seem to be that big of an issue, as now this kickstand is a lot more robust here on the system, having a more flexible angle, and it doesn't feel like it's going to fall off at any minute. It feels like a nice hard metal compared to a thin piece of plastic compared to what is on the original model Switch. So already I am liking the difference just in terms of the first impressions here between the two different models of the systems here. So now that we've taken a look at the hardware itself here for the Nintendo Switch OLED, let's go ahead and take a look at the rest of the stuff here in the box. So for now, we're going to put the system aside, as right now I want to go ahead and take out the remaining components here in the box, and pretty much everything else is self-explanatory. Here in this flap, we have ourselves a little piece of documentation here for the system, give you some of your normal information, health and safety warnings, all that good stuff. So that's pretty much everything that's in this cardboard. So for now, we're gonna just shove that aside. And now let's get out the other accessories, as here we have an HDMI cable. It's about a 6-foot HDMI cable. Pretty self-explanatory here. This is what you would use to connect your system with the included dock to your TV or computer monitor, or however you're going to have this hooked up to a main display. So let's go ahead and continue on here. Inside of the box, we also have the AC power adapter here, which is how we're going to be charging our system along with powering the dock here for the Switch when we want to use it in TV mode. So once again, taking this out, we will see that this is a very hefty adapter, and this is the same kind of AC adapter that comes with all models of the Switches, whether it be a standard model Switch, like say a launch unit system here, or maybe even the Switch Lite. They all come with this heavy power adapter, but the system does use USB-C, so it's a pretty common cord to find lying around as well. Now if we continue on, we can also see here we have a extra controller, or at least that's what it looks like on the surface, as this is a Joy-Con grip. So that way we can take Joy-Cons, like say I have an extra pair right here of the Mario Odyssey Red Joy-Cons. I can just go ahead, slot these in place, and now you can use these controllers with a proper grip attachment and play it like a normal controller instead of playing them with each hand holding a said Joy-Con instead, in case you do prefer a standard controller like this. The big difference though here is that the Joy-Con grips that come with Nintendo Switch consoles, they do not have a charging port on here, so if you want to charge these Joy-Cons, you need to take them and connect them to your physical Switch itself and charge them via that method. Sold separately is a Joy-Con grip that does have a USB-C connection here, which we can take any USB-C cable, say like the one that comes with our Switch here with the AC adapter, plug this in, and then we can plug our Joy-Cons into this grip and have it charge that way, whether it be charging from the dock or charging from a wall outlet of some kind. I would prefer them to ship the Switch with this kind of grip, but unfortunately that is not the case. You have to get it separate. But the Switch does work with all accessories for this said hardware, so it will also work with things like say the Pro controllers. You would just have to sync this controller up with your new Switch, whether it be via a wire connection through the dock or using the sync button here on the back of the controllers. So at least if you have any other accessories, we can still use them with our new console. Another thing we have here are the Joy-Con wrist straps here. So we can connect these to our Joy-Cons, and once again, I will go ahead and use our Mario Odyssey Red Joy-Cons we have lying around here. All you gotta do at this point is make sure the little tab is unlocked, slide them into place onto your said Joy-Con, and now you have yourself a wrist strap here. Lock into place, and now it's not going anywhere. I do like how the braided little wrist strap piece looks in comparison, as it does have a little bit of a pattern on it this time around, as all other versions of the Joy-Con rails I've ever gotten had just been completely black. This is a black and a white wrist strap, but nonetheless, you just put it onto your wrist, close it up, and now your Joy-Con isn't going anywhere. So you don't have to worry about throwing this thing through your TV like a Wii remote, for example. And anytime you want to disconnect these things, whether it be from the Joy-Con grip, your system itself, or even from these wrist straps, there is a release button on the back. So you hold that release button down. For the case of the grips here, for the wrist strap, you have to also put it in the unlock position, and then you just slide it right on off. It's as easy as that. Last thing we have here in the box is another one of our big differences here between this model of the Switch and the original model. So in this box here, we have the new dock for the system. So this here is the new dock for the Nintendo Switch. Now this is going to be sold separately, so you actually don't need to get the OLED model Switch here in order to get this new dock. But for right now, this is how I am going to be having this dock as this is the only way you can purchase it at the moment of recording this video. So if we can take a look here, it's pretty much the same dock as you have with a standard Switch. A little more rounded edges I'm noticing here to put your system in the said dock, but same kind of connection style. There is a USB-C plug here that you just drop your system into the dock to, and then that way it will get power from the wall outlet when you plug this in and also send the signal to a TV. On the back here, we can also see a different kind of pattern compared to an original dock. So we can actually take this off, as this back plate is completely detachable. So taking this off, we can see on the back, we have an AC adapter slot, HDMI out, and LAN in. So this is how we actually plug in a wired internet connection. We can just plug it straight into the dock, compared to with the original docks for the Switch, you need to have a USB adapter just to use an Ethernet connection with the system. While it supported it, there was no wired Ethernet connection on the dock itself until now. So this looks pretty nice. I do say I do like this new style here of the said dock, and the fact that this is detachable makes things pretty easy too, instead of just having it be a little plate that just slides off and just stays there in the back like the original model system. This is definitely a much nicer looking dock in my opinion, and it looks nice and sleek. If we go ahead at this point, move this box out of our way, take our OLED model system here and close up its kickstand. That way we can now take it and dock it into the said Switch dock. It drops in very nice and it looks very stylish here in the said dock. So I'm definitely looking forward here to hooking this thing up and trying it out on the big screen. But now we've taken a look at everything that comes in the box here for the new model Nintendo Switch, we're going to go ahead and end the video here. So I will be working on a standalone review video here for the OLED Switch model, just like I have with every other console featured here on the channel. And this review is going to take me a couple weeks to put together. So if you're watching this video as it goes live on YouTube, check back onto the channel here in a few weeks, as it will take me some time, as I mentioned earlier, to work on this said review. But if you are watching this video after the review is posted, check down in the video description below, as there will be a link to my Nintendo Switch OLED review video. But now with that said, I'm going to go ahead and play me some games on my new Nintendo Switch OLED model here. Thank you guys for watching this video, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.